Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder why some people seem to thrive when they're deeply connected to their community, while others focus more on their inner selves to feel good about life? Well, this new study dives deep into just that, especially in places where we don't always hear psychological research coming from. Imagine this. For decades, most psychology research has come from Western countries. Places like the US or Europe. And a lot of what we've learned about what makes people happy and satisfied with their lives focuses on how they feel about themselves, their self-worth, their self-esteem, their confidence in their own abilities. But what about people in other parts of the world, like in Sub-Saharan Africa, where community ties are often super strong? Do the same rules apply? That is the big question this research team set out to explore. They had a hunch that maybe, just maybe, how people feel they're seen and valued by their community, their social worth, might be way more important for their happiness than how they feel about themselves internally, especially in places like Sub-Saharan Africa. They even start the paper with a proverb from Sub-Saharan Africa that translates to, "A person is a person through other persons." That is a powerful idea, right? It is the opposite of the famous quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson about relying on oneself and not caring what others think. This paper is basically asking, which of these philosophies holds more sway when it comes to feeling good about your life in different parts of the world? So, they decided to test this idea across 3 studies. In the first one, they used a really cool approach called machine learning with data from people in Uganda, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Niger. Think of machine learning like a super smart computer program that can sift through tons of information and find the most important clues. They gave it this massive list of things that might affect how happy people are, things like money, their relationships, their background, and yes, even their self-worth and their social worth. And guess what they found? When the computer crunched all the numbers, the factors related to social worth, like feeling respected and valued by their family and community, were the biggest predictors of life satisfaction. Self-worth, the stuff we usually focus on in Western psychology, didn't even make the cut. It was like the computer said, nope, those things aren't as important here. They did a similar thing with data from Niger, and the results were pretty much the same. Social worth was king, and self-worth took a backseat. This was starting to build a strong case for their main idea. Then, they decided to get more direct and compare Sub-Saharan Africa to the United States, a country known for its individualism. They gathered data from people in Uganda and Niger again, and compared it to a group of people in the US. They used a fancy statistical method called structural equation modeling, which is basically a way to draw out and test complex relationships between different variables. And here is where it gets really interesting. In Sub-Saharan Africa, social worth was about 10 times more powerful in predicting life satisfaction than self-worth. Think about that. For every little bit of happiness you get from feeling good about yourself in the US, you might get 10 times that much happiness from feeling good about your place in your community in places like Uganda or Niger. On the flip side, in the US, self-worth and social worth were much more balanced in how much they predicted life satisfaction. This strongly supported their hypothesis that the cultural context plays a huge role, but they wanted to see if this was just about comparing Sub-Saharan Africa to the US, or if it was a broader pattern. So they looked at a huge global dataset called the World Values Survey, which included people from all over the world. They used proxies for social worth, like how people felt about their social standing, and for self-worth, like their sense of personal autonomy. And again, they found that in Sub-Saharan Africa, social worth was the strongest predictor of life satisfaction, even more so than in other regions like Asia, Europe, or Latin America. In fact, in Sub-Saharan Africa, a measure related to self-worth, like personal autonomy, wasn't really predictive of life satisfaction at all. This really hammered home the point that the cultural emphasis on community and relationships in Sub-Saharan Africa deeply influences what makes people happy. So, what does all of this mean for us? It beautifully illustrates that the things that make us feel good about our lives aren't universal. Our sense of worth and what we use to build that worth is deeply shaped by our cultural environment. In individualistic societies, focusing on inner self-esteem and individual achievement is often seen as the path to happiness. But in more collectivistic societies, like many in Sub-Saharan Africa, feeling valued, respected, and having a strong sense of belonging within your community is paramount for well-being. This research is a call to broaden our understanding of human psychology. It challenges the idea that Western models of happiness and well-being are the only ones that matter. It shows us that paying attention to social worth, to how we are seen and contribute to our social circles, is crucial for understanding well-being, not just in underrepresented regions, but potentially even in Western societies, where social isolation can be a real problem. What's also impressive is how they conducted this research. They didn't just impose Western ideas onto other cultures. They started with deep cultural insights, used clever data-driven methods like machine learning, and then confirmed their findings with large-scale studies. This approach helps us create more effective and culturally sensitive interventions for improving well-being. Now, like any good science, there are always things to consider for the future. The researchers point out that sometimes the same words can mean different things in different cultures. So more qualitative research is needed to be absolutely sure about how people interpret these questions. Also, while they found strong connections, this research is correlational, meaning it shows that social worth and life satisfaction go together. But more experimental studies are needed to prove that boosting social worth directly causes greater happiness. They also want to explore different aspects of social worth, like how feeling respected by elders versus peers might impact well-being differently. Ultimately, this study gives us a powerful reminder. We are fundamentally social beings. While our individual sense of self is important, how we connect with, contribute to, and are perceived by our communities is a vital foundation for a good life. This research not only enriches our understanding of well-being in Sub-Saharan Africa, but also pushes psychology to be more inclusive and globally aware. It suggests that fostering strong social connections and a sense of belonging might be key to unlocking well-being for more people everywhere. What do you think about these findings? Does the idea of social worth being more important for happiness resonate with you? Or have you experienced something different? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown helpful and want more insights into the fascinating world of psychology, be sure to like this video and subscribe to Rubin's Mind Lab. We'll keep exploring what makes us tick, one study at a time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.